In the Gospels, we see Jesus strolling across a stormy lake, crouching to trace shapes in the sand, while a woman faces execution, or appearing to call a desperate mother a dog. These moments often feel like a collection of random miracles or sudden bouts of rudeness. If we only look through a modern lens, his behavior seems entirely out of character. But the original authors were writing for an audience that lived and breathed the ancient scriptures. They recognized these actions as specific references to the stories of their ancestors. To see what they saw, we have to look at the historical and textual context that shaped their world. The New Testament was never meant to stand alone. Its narrative depends on the stories that came before it. Take the encounter in the Gospel of John, where the Pharisees interrupt Jesus while he's teaching. They drag a woman caught in adultery before the crowd, demanding to know if she should be stoned. Instead of answering, Jesus crouches down and silently traces his finger through the dust. Throughout his gospel, John works to establish that Jesus is the physical manifestation of the God who spoke to Israel's ancestors. To a reader in the 1st century, that finger in the dirt pointed directly back to Mount Sinai. The book of Exodus specifies when Moses received the 10 Commandments, they were inscribed onto stone tablets by the finger of God. By mimicking that exact physical gesture, Jesus is claiming the identity of the lawgiver. He is telling the Pharisees that the very rules they are trying to use against him were written by his own hand thousands of years earlier. We see a similar pattern when Jesus walks across the Sea of Galilee during a storm. This wasn't just a display of power, it was a deliberate callback to Moses and the parting of the Red Sea. The timing of both events is identical. Both the crossing of the Red Sea and Jesus walking on the lake happened during the final watch of the night, in the hours just before sunrise. When Jesus reaches the terrified disciples, he says, "It is I, do not be afraid." In the original Greek, that phrase is a direct match for the name I Am that God used to reassure the Israelites as they fled Egypt in the ancient world. Deep water was a symbol of chaos and death. By walking over it and reaching out his hand to pull Peter from the waves, Jesus is demonstrating the same rescue that defined the Exodus. Then there is the moment in Mark chapter 7, where Jesus appears to insult a woman who is begging for her daughter's life. He tells her it isn't right to take the children's bread and throw it to dogs. The woman was a Canaanite, a group that had been a historical enemy of Israel for centuries. However, the Greek word Jesus used changes the intent of the conversation. He didn't use the word for a wild street animal, kuna. He used kunarion, which refers to a beloved house pet. This echoes stories of faithful Gentiles, like the Canaanite Rahab or the widow who helped Elijah, who were brought into Israel's story because they trusted in God's provision. When the woman replies even the pets eat the crumbs from the master's table, Jesus grants her request. He is signaling that his mission was always to reach beyond the borders of Israel and include those who were previously considered outsiders. When we look at these moments as part of a larger conversation with the past, the Gospels emerge as a highly structured narrative. The New Testament depends on these internal references to provide context for Jesus's actions. Without them, we are only reading half of the conversation. By tracking these echoes back to their source, we find a story that is far more cohesive and intentional than it appears on the surface.